What is very interesting is what happens, yes, at the very time when a woman in hard labor is suddenly immersed in water at temperature of the body. Yes. The first reaction is relief. Yes. And that can be explained in physiological terms. This relief means a lower level of stress hormone. Mm-hmm. It means more oxytocin, the hormone necessary to contract the uterus. It means more effective contraction. But what's important to know, it is that this is the immediate, short-term physiological response. It's important to know that after that, there is a sort of feedback mechanism. Which take about 2 hours. And we can explain that. I don't want to give details, you know. We can explain.
I would love to hear the details.
Yeah, I can explain how it works after a while. You know, when the human body is immersed in water, there is a redistribution of blood volume. The effect is more blood in the chest and less blood in the peripheral part of the body. And it's important to understand that today, because we know today that we have in the heart, in our heart, we have specialized cells that are sensitive to blood volume. So it means that after a while, these specialized cells in the heart, particularly in the atria, are stimulated, and they release a factor, a peptide. Technically, we call that ANP. It's a detail, but the effect of this peptide is to moderate the activity of the posterior pituitary gland, the gland that is releasing oxytocin, vasopressin, all these hormones which are important during the birth. Yes. So it's a way to explain that after about 2 hours, because of this feedback mechanism, the contraction can become less effective. So the only important thing to know is that immersion in water at temperature of the body can make uterine contractions more effective during a limited period of time. Yes. That is in the region of 2 hours. So from a practical perspective, the question is how to use as well as possible these 2 hours. In general, the first main best recommendation is not to enter the bath too soon. When a woman enters the bath in the middle of the dilation, hard labor, usually 2 hours later she's at complete sonosal. That's the first recommendation. There is another important recommendation, is not to make precise plans about how baby will be born, not to have a preconceived script, you know, of how baby will be born. Yeah. What is dangerous is when a woman is planning a birth in the water. When she said, I want to have a water birth, the risk is that she might stay too long in the birthing pool. When after 2 or 3 hours, if the contractions are less effective, she will not listen to her body. She will be the prisoner of her project. Yes. And the contraction will be less and less effective. Finally, the baby will be born in the water because it's her project, but it will be much faster on the dry land at the end. And it cannot prevent some difficulties for the delivery of the placenta after that. So really what is important to understand is that immersion in water at temperature of the body can make the contractions more effective during a limited period of time, which is in the region of 2 hours. The point is to use these 2 hours as well as possible. Something to add is that the birthing pool is useless if there are 3 people around watching the woman in labor. Because whatever the place, dry land or water, the basic need is privacy, not to feel observed. That's something we must constantly recall. Privacy is much more important than water.